It's April 24th, 2014. This is Doug Stout. I'm here with Carl and Genevieve Strout. Carl, where were you born?
In Milford, Massachusetts, in July 15th, well, when I lied about my age, I went to 14th to 15th, 1925.
Okay. And Genevieve, where were you born?
In New Jersey in 1924.
Okay. And when did you come to Licking County? What year?
That year, 1964.
1960. And you were in the Navy?
Yes.
In World War II.
Hospital Corps.
What was your years of service?
September 22nd, 1941 to June 1948.
And you lied about your age?
Yeah, I was in the 3 Cs prior to that, in a sandbank with a pick and shovel and a straw boss down below. And they started training with wooden guns. And I said, heck with this. Might as well go where the real ones are. So I hitchhiked to Worcester, Mass, 20 miles, took the test, and went back home. Mom was worried about me lying about my age. So I hitchhiked back up, told the chief, what's your age in the C's? I said, 17. He says, be here Monday morning. And so I went to Springfield, Massachusetts, was sworn in, and went to Newport, Rhode Island boot camp, and got to march with Phillips through the band music. And our chief petty officer, Chief Hughes, he led us to be a Gold Star company, Company 41 or 45, I think it was.
Genevieve, then when did you enter? You were a whack?
No,
Wait.
no wax.
When did you go in?
After you get out of high school.
No, I mean
40,
it was later. It
45?
was when my brother was captured. When was that?
I think it was.
I can't even remember.
He was in the Air Force. Did 27 missions, and
There'd have to be 1940 something.
On B-17.
He was captured in Europe then, or in Japan?
At the European theater.
And that's why you enlisted, because he was captured. And then where did you go once you enlisted? Where did you go for?
To New York.
Okay.
And
New York
Hunter
State.
College is where they had the Waves boot camp.
Okay. What's a Waves boot camp like?
Oh well.
A lot of girls.
Yeah.
They drilled and did basically the same as the men.
Okay.
A tall building, great big building where they all stayed.
So it was physical too.
Yes.
It wasn't just you just went and sat in classes or something. Okay. And so they trained you to be a nurse?
No.
Okay.
No,
Storekeeper.
It's a storekeeper.
Okay.
I worked in the store.
Okay.
And that's where we met it. She was at the booking receiving station on, what's that, across from the Navy Yard, Flatbush Avenue. And she was working in a surplus where they were selling all World War II stuff to, all the things they had when the war was over. And I saw her one time. And we dated.
How long did you date?
2 weeks.
Okay. So, were you as sure of this as he was?
I think
Well,
so.
Okay.
we were on leave and Labor Day weekend, and I sent a message. It wasn't until they sent the chief petty officer to give us an extension. They signed it and put me in her care, so I couldn't back out. And we wanted to get married in a little chapel there around the corner. But I went there and so you have to take lessons. You have to have this. You got to do that. And we didn't have time, so I went to the courthouse in Manhattan. And the fellow said, "You have to have somebody stand up for you." And so this fellow says, "I'll do it." He just got through. I know his name, but I can't think of it right now.
I can't even remember his name.
And you've been married how long?
68 years coming up.
So
45.
So a 2-week engagement doesn't
46.
seem to have hurt anything. Seems worked out. So
11 children, 8 girls and 3 boys,
Okay.
and 33 grandchildren, 43 great-grandchildren.
Okay. So where I know the story of where you were during Pearl Harbor, but you tell me the story of where you were during Pearl Harbor.
Okay. I decided to go to Manhattan at Times Square to a movie, and give me a list. I had a list of the movies on, but anyway, when I come out after the movie, there was a police cruiser, New York cruiser. Police motioned me to come over to the cruise, and I said, I was kind of stunned. I said, that's crazy, I just come out of a movie, what did I do wrong?
Right.
And I went over to the window and says, have you heard that the Japs bombed Pearl Harbor? I said, I just come out of a movie, that's why I'll get back to your base right away. So I was at Floyd Bennett Field, Brooklyn.
Okay. So then where did you go from there?
I was working in a carpenter shop that I had around the base. There was no quarters and no mess halls or anything. We were on subsistence in Bell Harbor.
Okay.
And that's where that flood went through there a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, I was a Boy Scout, and when I was a kid, and I learned, my doctor put me through about an hour's worth of bandages and splints and everything. I said, heck with this, I was standing guard duty by where the river goes by, and the hangar where B-25s were being prepared to ship out on barges, coating them and stuff, and heck, I was in there, had a Springfield rifle, and someone come in here, what's the password? And so I decided that heck, I had that training with a doctor gave me, so I might as well try out for the hospital corps. I worked in the sick bay for a while, and I stand duty for guys that were married.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1943, they sent me to hospital corps school in Portsmouth, Virginia. And I went through 6 weeks of hospital corps, and I signed up for not the regular service, but those ships were out to sea. And my brother said, no, you're not going to Old Merchant Marines. He said, there's too many little ships getting sunk. So I was sent to, after I graduated, to Marine base in Cherry Point, North Carolina, detached to the Marines. And I served in various parts of North Carolina, and then one in Arkansas. They were all previous 3C bases. That was interesting. And then one in California, in an old town, planes would take off, you could see the mountains and London. It was fascinating. But then from there, we were sent on up near Camp Pendleton, Miramar. What is that? I think it was. There was a base, and they loaded us on an APA at 4 o'clock in the morning. And we took off from the past Guam and various islands, and then we went to Roy-Namur, there's a little island. We stayed for a little bit, and just a cement building that was just flat. Then they loaded us on, and we went to Invasion Okinawa, and there were 1,000 ships out in the bay. At nighttime, the traces were so thick, the Japs would follow our night chicks in behind the radar. And so I said, I want off this thing. But next morning I went down to Higgins and then up on Yontan Airstrip. You hear the gunfire all day long. And General Buckner got killed there out in the bay. And so they called it Buckner Bay after that. But a couple times a week they bring truckloads of bodies back to the Yontan Airstrip, and CBs would dig a trench and they'd line them up and they'd put the dog tags on. And one time there was a Japanese Sally bomber either got shot down. Oh, I was on a gun tub with some army guys. They had a 90 millimeter. Every day they tested it religiously at 12 o'clock. And when I was in that hangar, it would click. I could have hit it with my rifle. And they crashed down there. And inside that plane were a bunch of young Japanese specialists, I guess, airmen, all camouflage and their spiral legging, pads on. And there was about 6 of them outside this solid moment. And one Marine stomping his gold fillings out, and the other one took his knife and cut his ear off. And I thought, looking back on it, that was somebody's son now.
Yeah. But at the time.
Yeah. And then after things settled down on Ernie Powell was on Ayashima all the ways off. He was a GI World War II favorite. But then we went to Japan. And there was a big mountain like hill there. It had 360 degrees. It had fighter planes in there and all equipment, mess hall, sick bay, and it had 2 doors that were open and all trees in front of them, camouflage. Yokosuka's what it was. And out on the water there was a dock, and there was a Japanese tin can docked out there. And I always like being outside. I don't like, so I had a job going around and spraying all things where mosquitoes would be and stuff like that. I talk with Japanese families, you know, and they invite me in. And,
I was wondering how that went. I mean,
yeah.
you were a GI and you just conquered their country and how they treated you.
There was one building next door with a bunch of men. I don't know what it was, but they didn't like me very well. But, so when I had some time, I'd sneak out the gate where the area was where there were no guards, and I'd go visit them. And after that, the point system come out. I had enough points, so I loaded on a ship and another APA, and then we went to one fellow that I was with, another corpsman. He climbed in that bunk and he was sick the whole 2 weeks. We got to California, then they transferred us on to a LST they were going to retire. And we went from there and got on a train and went from California to San Francisco to see that sign there, and it had "Welcome Home." The dogs, they would be singing their song. Remember what it was?
No.
Can't think of it.
I'd have to look that one up.
I don't think he's old enough.
It was very popular. I just can't think of it right now. And then we went to Boston, and was discharged there. Went back home to Webster and got a job, like one of my brother-in-laws got a job up there in Worcester in a rendering works, chopping up bones with an axe, dogs, cats, and everything, and put it in these big steamers and steam it and sterilize it. And I don't know what they sold it for, dog food or what it was.
Oh, wow.
And I get on the bus and people would let me have their seat. So heck, this is crazy. So that guy used to be a kid and I caddied at a golf course. And so the guy that was manager there gave me a job in Cranston Print Work. And they made all the materials for the Jansen bathing suits and stuff like that, and cloth for clothing. And I stand in this bin about the size of the kitchen here and have a stick, and it's material come out of a steamer, and it comes through them knobs, and I pleat it all in that bin because it got a knot in it that broke. Mm-hmm. And I got that, shoot, I can do better than this in the Navy. So I went back in until I met her. And then things were going good. I was at St. Albans Hospital out there, and they didn't want to let her go. They said, "We'll pay for your lunch every day if you stay here." But there was a young lady, ice cube tray or something fell on her head. She had it. Was hemorrhaging out. And her dad's the chief petty officer. He was sitting there, and I was going around trying to find an iron lung. And then I can understand it now. At the time, the doctor says, "Do you want to go see a psychiatrist?" Because I was crying all the time. That shocked me so
Right.
bad. I don't know when Linda was born yet or not. But anyway, so I decided to get a discharge. I can see now he's the one that helped me if I needed it.
Right.
At that time, I thought he was being rude.
Yeah.
So we come home, and I was going to St. Petersburg, Florida. I loved being outside. And I wanted to get a job as a mailman. And my grandpa says, "No, you need a trade." And he had a Viking engraving. He started, after he got out, he worked in printing money or something when he was after he got out in Washington. But he started this engraving company, and we make all wall text, remember, commerce coated fabrics?
Mm-hmm.
But we made all the cylinders for them. We didn't make the cylinders, we made the designs.
Right.
And so I had 6-year apprenticeship there and different departments. And you'd work on a cylinder with a little thing, and then if when they had the design, after it was printed onto the cylinder, they'd leave a little line and something you had, especially palm olive and Irish soap, you had to pick it out on the glass so the ink would fill in.
Right.
And then I worked in another department where they this thing was set up on a step repeat machine. It'd be a 24 by 60 normally, and then they had some bigger designs on larger sheets. But you'd sensitize this cylinder, and you'd put that design on there, and you put it in a machine, and had an arc light, and it had an office in it, about an inch or two wide, and you registered it on two little register marks that were on the cylinder, and then you'd put the arc light on it and go from the beginning, go all around that, put that design on the cylinder. Then they took a purple stuff, I can't what to call it now, but perchloride, I think, and they'd develop it out and the image would show. Then you'd paint another part, you'd stage out everything you didn't want etched,
Mm-hmm.
where the design was, and then put it in this iron chemical that would etch the copper and down to all those squares, and etch it so long, you keep looking at it with a glass, and people looked then at, so they didn't etch the line and break them otherwise and ruin the cylinder.
Yeah.
And then I worked in staging under that glass and did that. Then I worked in step and repeat, where take a negative that they work on, and you put it in a hole that register, so all lined up horizontal and vertical. And then you put in that step and repeat machine, and had 0 to 60 across, whatever, and then vertically too. And you take it with a 6 by 6, you put from 0 to 6, you take a hood and put in front of it, and you expose it with a light for 10 seconds, and fill that whole sheet of film with this design and that holder, and then you gotta develop it out in the tanks with, run it through and develop it. And then they had this sheet, and then that's when they put them on the cylinders.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is.
And then, after a while, they had unions there. There always unions, and I was crazy about them. And anyway, I decided, heck, my daughter had opening at a school where she was teaching Westerville. So I got a job as a custodian there. And it was kind of sad because that was one of some of the best experience I ever had at Westerville North High School. Those kids were always smiling, come in the morning, they write me notes about it, appreciate my smile, and the teachers and staff were just family.
Right.
So I worked there for 10 years, 10 or 12 years. And I come home, I got retired in 1990. Didn't you too, didn't you?
I didn't work at Westerville.
No, but when you was working at the school,
Oh, yeah.
wasn't making enough money to pay the bills, and so I left her with my job, and went back to printing for a while. And I got that job. Then I got that job at school. I stayed there. But she worked at Hartford School and started at Appleton.
Appleton School, yeah.
And Mrs. Williams was a principal. The best job I ever had. She was so nice. I knew everything what to do about it. Of course.
Right. What was it like being a wave?
Oh, interesting. I mean, you just, it was all new to you and what was going on and everything. And the girls just backed them, so it was nice.
So you served in that for, it looks like about 2 years? About 2 years, 45 to 47s on the brick. And then you just followed him around. Is that right?
Yeah.
You kept up with him.
I went to churches and across from Westgate High School where she went to high school. And when New Albany Methodist Church, and then come out here while we went to Bennington Chapel. This is the 50th year.
Wow. Dude.
I took all the kids and sit in the front pew with them.
This is probably a dumb question, but I gotta ask. Did Waves, do you get the same veteran benefits
I'm sure they
as
as
Yeah.
a whack.
as a Navy or
Yeah.
so your benefits were the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know if there was some, well, if they stepped them down some because they didn't really think you were doing anything, because you know how we tend to think that. But here you were back home supporting everything. Did your brother come home that was in the prison camp?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. That's good to know.
Yeah, he died last fall. His wife
Yeah.
died before.
Okay.
His son, George, I saw them pictures out there. He's a highway patrolman.
Now, I want you to, you have a rich military heritage a rich military heritage that I think has started with you too, that has now gone to your children and your
Yeah.
grandchildren. Can
Yes, my
can
son.
you run through that? Because
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
Well, my son Richard went in the Air Force, and he worked with airplanes. And my son Carl, he went in first. He worked with them. And the grandchildren, after the war, Vietnam, I guess. Well, Carl was in after World War II, I think. But he's got hearing aids now because he worked around jets.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a granddaughter that's in the Air Force, and she's in Wright Pat right now. Well, and before that, I had a grandson, my daughter Carol's son. He's a pilot, a jet pilot, and worked on aircraft landings, and he now specializes in, he's got 17, on his 18th year, going to California after he finishes up this, and he teaches survival through pilots, various phases. And then, I'll see this. The grandchildren, David was in the Army, my oldest daughter's son, and his daughter, her daughter, Dawn, she was in the Army too. And they're both down in South Carolina base.
Yeah.
And,
North Carolina.
went down one time to see David. He wasn't supposed to come work out of the area he was in, but he came and hugged us and had his DI caught him and made him scrub floors.
What did they make him do?
Scrub floors in the
Yeah, I
barrack.
mean, he had to stay in that barrack, though. You know.
You see, there's,
He probably figured it was worth it.
yeah. And
We
Dawn, I
hope so.
always took her Big Boy. Their name was Big Boy. She climbed down that rope on them trellis and stuff they have in boot camp and stuff. And then there was, let's see, there's Tom and Bon, and he's at survival, and Nick is a Navy SEAL and the sniper. He's in Afghanistan, his second trip, and he'll be home May 19th, I think.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, so there's six, there'll be 6, 7, Bon and Nick, and then Jacob, he's in Shelby, he's in Washington in the Air Force. And Bryce, Linda's the third member of the Big Boy family. He's South Dakota or somewhere, air base out there. And we have another one, Don's son, he's going in August in the Army.
Okay.
So, and we have this Keith.
Right.
Yeah, he was killed by that text.
Yeah. So that's quite a heritage you two have left.
Yeah, it's out on the table. Well, you got that picture
Right.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else about your service that you want to tell me about? Or?
Gee, there's been a lot of excitement. I think one of the things I think about is I used to ride my bicycle all around, and I go up to Centerburg to sit down, then I go up to Brandon and on up to Martinsburg and Bladensburg. And where I saw Old Glory torn, tattered, and faded, I knock on the door. And nobody answered. I took it down, fold it military style, stick it in the door on the bench. My kids told me quit doing that because I won't get killed. I took 4 down this year.
Really?
It was shattered. When I went to the Centerburg, the township hall there, and talked to them about it, and the firehouse in Georgetown. One guy says, I'll take care of it immediately.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things they don't really look
Well,
up
yeah.
at. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's...
I was hoping, one of the biggest things, wishes I'd have, that like to have Flag Day once a year, is to be sure take Old Glory down and replace her, you know, because I know that wind's hard on them.
Right.
Mine lasted all winter. It's an anium flag.
I mean,
It's
it,
double stitched.
yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
It doesn't look faded or anything.
yeah. But my whole concept of it is from the Civil War and all the wars we had. And World War I, when I remember they used to sing that song, My Buddy, nights are long since you went away. I think of you the night and the day. My buddy, nobody quite so true. I miss your face, the touch of your hand, and all the things that you understand. My buddy, nobody quite so true. And you think of those guys like Gettysburg, jump out of that trench and all that fire coming at you. Well, you didn't have there's no chance.
But
And
they
then
did.
last week it was so upsetting to me. There's atheists are setting up displays in various parts of the country. They say Jesus is a myth, nobody died for our sins. When you think those guys, you think, well, I don't have nothing to go for, I just stand in line of fire. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want people to remember about your service? I mean, about your generation and
Well, I think it'd be on that brick and on our grave marker or something, you know. And I have a great uncle who's in a volunteer for in the Civil War, and I can't trying to track him down up in Massachusetts. The history on him. I have a couple uncles that were, well, an uncle, he was a medic in Europe. I didn't even know he had Purple Heart even until I saw his obituary, but he was in Europe. And a brother-in-law, he got killed over there. His first war first began. And my best buddy Frank's and Wysocki, we used to, like I say, I liked out on the farm, and I got into the vocational school, working with electricity, and I'd go to his place and hoe corn. But remember those who gave their life. And I got all our family. I have a couple of nephews, and maybe 3 or 4 nephews that were killed in Vietnam and Korean wars. So I just remember what it was all about.
Genevieve, what do you think about women being in combat?
Oh, not much.
Okay.
I think the men should do that kind of work, not the women.
I wondered how you felt about that.
I think women bear children. I think it's stealing their opportunity to be a mother.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for this time.